created this podcast because we want to know the people behind the work. We invite you to join us at the table and listen to their stories.
All right, Hunter.
Yeah, we're
back
back
again at the table. I always love that little funky intro music. Kristin, do you like that music?
I loved it.
That's
I was
pretty
actually
cool.
having to stop myself from
I know.
dancing.
It's a dancing thing. It really
It
is.
was. My
It really
hand
is.
started shaking. It was going up my shoulder.
I know. It just you got to
starting.
feel the
Yeah,
beat.
I was
Feel
feeling the beat.
Well, Hunter, I have a friend of mine that her name is Kristin Johnson, and evidently she speaks. So I hear that.
She does.
I think that's what she does.
She does.
She does more than speak, but she does
Yeah,
speak.
but I mean, my business name is Kristin Johnson.
I mean, you like
Speaks.
how I did that, right?
I mean, that's pretty forward facing, isn't
It
it?
is. It is. It is.
Nobody could get.
Nobody
What
can
do
guess
you
what
do?
you do. Well, I really struggle with speaking. Well, Kristin, it's so great to have you here.
Thank you.
I was saying to Hunter, I think our last episode, it's fun to bring people who like we don't know, like he doesn't know you, I know you, he doesn't, and so he gets to have a different level of curiosity. Although I don't know you incredibly well,
No.
so I get to learn
We
some more
just
about
keep
you.
overlapping, which is hilarious because I think we've been overlapping lives for many years, but
Yeah.
that's about what happens is we overlap. Oh, it's so good to see you again. We connect and then
And then
another
onward.
year or 2 or 10 go by.
That's right. That's right. And this is actually, Hunter, our second time on a podcast together. But last time you were doing the interviewing. Do you remember this?
Yes, I remember this.
The Chamber of Commerce. Mm-hmm. Yes. It was the most popular, I think, episode ever. Was it not?
Was it?
Yes.
Is that the one that got us all the awards that we...
Well, I haven't got my award, but yes.
I still sign autographs
in my
after
mind.
that thing.
See, I have this, I create this whole reality in my mind that, yes, I received the Podcast of the Year award from the Chamber.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Although I have no
well-
evidence of that anywhere in my life.
You know what? They say that the interviewer actually is the success of the guest.
All right. Well, hopefully I could pay it back again to
I'm
you by
kidding.
being the interviewer today.
Well, it's good to be back again.
Yes,
Part
absolutely. Well, I would love to, let's just start with the present for a moment. So Kristin Johnson Speaks.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about this, because this is a new career shift in this last little bit. So
It
tell us
is.
about it, and then we're going to go back to that story. But tell us, give us the present.
Kristin Johnson Speaks is a company that I created around my love of speaking. I have had opportunities within organizations to speak publicly, MC events, which is so fun. And I realized after repetition with more and more reps in that it was something that I wanted to do professionally. So I opened up a company called Kristin Johnson Speaks, and that is exactly what I do. I do keynotes, I MC events, and I lead workshops, moderate panels, and started coaching actually too.
Yeah. Well, I see some of your Instagram reels, maybe, or Facebook. I don't know which one around, but some reels
Mm-hmm. Ooh,
somewhere.
You want to talk about diving in. So prior to me starting this company, I had no social media.
Like none at all.
None at all.
So yeah, just
So people,
cannonball into
you
the
know,
pool.
like let's not show my age here, but MySpace. I mean, remember when any of that started? And I was like, nobody needs platforms like this. Just if you want to talk to your friends, just go talk to them. Well, so I never did that, and then I never did Facebook, and I never did Instagram, and then fast forward until pretty much a couple months ago, I'm all over those things now. No MySpace still. I'm holding out
Is there
strong
a
on that one.
MySpace still?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I think that's gone.
Yeah.
So has your, with that description, then my assumption would be you came into this with a pretty good mental health. Is it beginning to deteriorate now?
That's right.
A little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
Did you take a
Well-
test prior to this so we could set a
Ooh,
baseline?
you should
for,
see. You know, they show the brain
Yes.
Yeah.
before and after.
Here's your brain on Instagram.
Yeah, that's right.
There's your
We
brain.
should have done an
pre-social
MRI
media.
first to see.
Yeah.
If
Oh
it was
my gosh. Well, and actually it's funny that you say that because I recently did a post so the areas that I've been in my life, most of them have been very forward facing within large groups. And I know you can relate to that.
Uh-huh.
And I know you can too. But when you're in those spheres, people feel a lot more comfortable with you than you do them. I mean, that's just the way that it has to work. You can't get to know every person in an audience, but every person in the audience should get to know you. And so then when you are in these roles for multiple years, the familiarity just gets deeper and deeper for the one side. And so when I stepped out, which we can talk about this later, but when I stepped out of a long-term career, everybody was like, what's next? What are you going to do? So I started communicating what I was doing on social media. And it was funny because people would say, you're a little different on social media than you are in person.
Well, did they give any description of what different?
I mean, maybe I was more animated on social media. I don't speak the exact same way in person that I do on social media. And so it took actually some mental fortitude and then some adjustments, some shifts to just understand that who you are is who you are. You got to just be who you are and be okay with that. And then that feedback, the criticism, the compliments, it all starts to neutralize when you understand when you feel comfortable with who you are and what you're representing and why you're doing what you're doing. So yes, I'd say my mental health took a little bit of a dip initially, but water off a duck's back now.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, people say, ignore the comments. Just ignore the comments. The more famous people and either, just don't read that stuff because it's an interaction. Like you said, it's a weird interaction because think about it. You go to some concert, you're like, hey, whoever the person's name is, you speak first name like your buddies and they've never met you in their life, but we've listened to so much. We feel like we know your heart. We know your breakup songs. Taylor Swift, Taylor, you're my friend. And it's not true.
It's not true.
And so there is a disconnect of reality, but you're still trying to be who you are, but you don't have the luxury of having dialogue like we're having today. You just don't get that.
No, it's so true. And then, so I think being rooted in what you're representing, that's where that gets so critical. Taylor Swift, for an example, she's a great example. I mean, she's grown up in the spotlight. And the reason I think that she's so magnetic to her audience collectively is they've been able to grow up with her. But she's been very exposed on the feelings that she has during the time of life that she's singing about. So when she was 15, she was singing about 15-year-old problems. Well, everyone started to relate. And then 18 and all the way up until 30-something. And so people can relate to that because she's being authentically her, and people are drawn to that. It's a magnet.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, let's go back to what you were doing prior to this, and how did this happen? So tell us a little bit first about who you are family wise. I mean, I know your husband. I know you've got some kids. So tell us a little bit about that.
I got 2 kids.
I mean, I hear about these kids.
Yes. Have you met them?
I have not met your kids.
Oh, okay. Well, we need to make that happen. But as we were saying offline a second ago, I'm married. I'm married for 21 years to Jared. And for those of you who don't know me/us, I am 5 feet tall, and Jared is 6'8". So Mutt and Jeff type situation right there. We are hoping for just average height offspring, which at this point they're 9 and 10, boy and a girl, and the boy is taller than me and the girl's maybe a couple inches off. So the family dynamic has shifted to where it was the kids and I, and Jared was towering above us, and now
you're filling in the gaps.
We're kind of shifting a little bit. Now where we'll be in a few years, I'm sad to think about that. So we're just not going to. But yeah, so I've been married to Jared for 21 years. We have a 9 and a 10-year-old, and they're doing great. And this shift in my career at this phase of the kids' lives has been a delicate dance, as you can imagine. But for 20 years, nearly, I was with one company, and I was doing a little bit of everything. I was acting as if I were an entrepreneur, but it wasn't my business. But I was primarily in property management, and I was in the legal side of leasing, executive office space, and then there was an event center in this property that I managed for a long time. And so there was an events component too, and I led a team. So I started 16 years ago and just started adding more and more to my tasks of that job, and got to this place where I felt really comfortable doing it. It wasn't easy, but I knew how to do it well. And not to drag the story out, but I started getting prompted in the middle of the night about making a shift, and I ignored it for 2 years. Believe that.
So talk a little bit more about prompted. What do you mean?
So
Like waking up, like
yes,
uneasy sleep,
I love
like
my
dreams,
sleep. Do you
like
guys
what?
need your sleep?
We all do. Yes.
Oh my gosh. I mean, you know, there's some people that
You are starting to show your age right now, though, with that.
I've always needed my sleep.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Oh,
I'm just now
yeah.
discovering how much I need it.
Oh, not me. I've known. Do you need your sleep?
Yeah, absolutely.
How many hours of sleep do you like a night?
Well, I probably am looking at between 7 and 8.
Oh, yeah. Easy. How about you?
I mean, if I get 7, I'm lucky.
Okay.
My ring tells me I need more.
Do you track all that?
I started tracking because I know I'm not sleeping well. Let's not talk about my sleep problems.
You know, the other thing too is I think you can overtrack stuff. I'm
Oh,
just
100%.
saying.
100%.
Yeah. Well, I love my sleep. I've always loved my sleep. And the kids were at an age where they were sleeping through the night because they weren't babies anymore. And then that phase where they go through as adolescent, where they're waking up with nightmares all the time, that ended. And I was like, oh my gosh, finally I'm going to get some sleep. So I'd go to bed at 10:30. For the longest time, I was waking up about 2 hours later and I couldn't go back to sleep. But my mind wasn't spinning. This was the interesting thing. I was just getting up and feeling like I needed to make a move, but I wasn't sure what the move was. And so originally, at the very beginning of this process, I would wake up and be like, no, thank you. And I'd try to go back to sleep. And I would. After a few months of that, of me saying no thank you to any kind of prompts, the pull started getting more direct and louder. So instead of just waking up with not a lot on my mind, I woke up with not a lot on my mind, but that I was getting this prompt, almost like a tap on the shoulder that was like, get up and write. Get up and write. Write some of this down. And I'm like, write what down? I don't even know what we're talking
woke up
about.
and I want to go back to bed.
Yeah, I need my sleep. And so I think, honestly, out of desperation, a little bit of anger, and then I have to say obedience because it just softens how I was feeling about it. But I got up and I started writing some stuff down. And from this, a career shift and a book was born.
And so what's that timeline? So when did that start happening?
About 2 years ago.
So a couple
It's been
years.
about, a 2-year process.
And what was the decision to make the career shift? What was that like? Because that's huge. I mean, starting to write, starting to think, starting to dream, starting to be the disruption. But boy, you put some action to it. That leaving so
Yeah.
much familiar territory, going to something brand new. What was that like?
The best way I can describe this is what I was writing about wasn't me looking from the top of the mountain saying, this is how I did it. Come with me. It was more like, this is what we're going to do. Let's go. And these words that I had been writing, all these chapters, felt like I needed to take my own action. And that's what prompted the career change. So to not be cryptic about the book's message, the book is titled, I'm Available, How to Receive and Live Your Unique Purpose. And so how that really started for me is in the mornings when I was either still up or was getting up, because life goes on whether you're sleeping or not. And that's a tough thing. You know, you still have to get the kids to school. You still have to go to your job. You still have to do all the same things. But before I would get out of bed, before my feet touched the floor, for years, I would say, good morning, God. Thank you for the opportunity today. Good morning, God. Thank you for the opportunity. Good morning, God. Thanks. Good morning, God. And I started to feel like, thanks, big guy, for whatever you got for me. I'm underslept, not feeling very aligned, but whatever you're the big thing, let's do it. And so I started really questioning myself in that posture to God. And so with some challenge, I changed my morning greeting to God. And instead of, and I still say this every day, even this morning, but instead of me saying, good morning, God, thanks for the opportunity, I wake up and say, good morning, God, I'm available. And that's where the big work starts. Like that's not, you can have the book and you can read the book, but the work in your life starts when you start living that posture of availability to what your unique purpose is. And I realized that with my previous career, my posture of availability for what God wants me to do couldn't be realized because I was so in that role. I didn't have room to do the things that I knew I needed to be doing to actually carry this message forward. So again, it was another huge leap of faith and step in obedience.
Yeah, because most people want to write, and I love that you describe that. You're not writing a book from a place of like a successful mountaintop peak, and then let me show you the path that I carved. But you're saying, hey, actually, most of us need some courage to walk. I want to walk with you and just document the journey of the path that I'm on, because it's a journey.
It's
versus like I'm there. That's what this podcast is about. I'm so glad. It's like we don't want to create a world that I think we've created, which we put a bunch of, and I would air quote the successful people or something like that, and then write us books about it. We want to know there's real stories behind all this stuff, and we don't want a sanitized version of someone's life through the success. We want to know who they are and why they're doing what they're doing, and we want to know not just the great things, but also the difficult things, like stopping something you're very familiar with and saying, I'm just going to go. And by the way, I'm just going to take people on the journey with me.
Oh, and I mean, talk about humbling. And that's the other thing. Yeah, I had that career for so long. I could do it with my eyes closed. I didn't have to go in if I didn't want to. I wasn't tied to a time schedule. It was a really fantastic career. I mean, nothing negative looking back, which is also how I knew my heart was in the right place to leave a place of extreme comfort to go out and be really uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. But I also think that's what levels out the playing field with humanity. And what I mean here is, and I won't try to dive very deep unless you want to, but when I think about humanity and I think about time, and I think about success, and I think about all the superstars in life who have made lucrative careers, maybe in sports or business or, fashion, whatever. The people that really, like Taylor Swift, the people that have really made it big. When I imagine panning out from this space and time, and then I back up into history and back up. So you and I, the three of us could be sitting in this room. When I back out, we're sitting in Winston-Salem. When I back out, we're sitting in North Carolina. When I back out, we're sitting in the United States. When I back out, we're in the world. And then you keep going into the universe where all of a sudden time and space and everything we understand warps. The fact that we're the three of us are in this room right now, having a conversation, getting to know each other. The fact that we are on this planet at the same space and the same time, there is great purpose in that. And so if Taylor Swift walked in, it takes away the star-studdedness of a lot of that. It levels out the playing field of, yes, she's hustled. Yes, she's done a great job. Josh, so have you. Hunter, so have you. We've had these experiences, human experiences that have happened overlap in the same space and the same time. It makes you feel like you can be or do or represent anything. And I think that's what people need to hear. People feel so boxed in to where we are. Oh, our city's not big enough. We couldn't become anything big here. You kidding me? You're born in the same space in the same time as a Taylor Swift. You can do it too. You just have to hustle. That's where the work starts.
Yeah. It's interesting. Interesting to think about it from a perspective of what do we have in common versus what makes, the superstars unique. I mean, it's a place to like, common humanity, and it's a story that we all share. It's a different perspective to start there and to go on a journey than it is to have people just calling to you, yelling at you from the top.
Yeah.
And it's a very dangerous place to be at the top anyway.
Well, it's lonely.
It's lonely, and it's not real usually. Usually that reality of like what the top is, it's a perspective on what we think is successful. Why do we think that some people are successful and some people aren't? I mean, it's a definition, right?
Absolutely. And another thing that it is it's a limiting factor. You know, if you're 65, 75, hearing about classic definition of success, you feel like it's too late to start over or do things and that's why I love this message of availability. It doesn't matter if you're 15 or 95. You are still available for whatever this plan is on your life today. And that's another thing. You can start today. You don't have to wait and start at the beginning of the month or, you know, when you have enough money or when this or that. There are areas that you can try to procrastinate everywhere. But here's the deal. If you wake up and tell God that you're available for his plan, you better be serious and your life will change, period.
So has that always been a thought? Like, where did that come from? Did you grow up
The
thinking
middle of
that
the
way?
night.
Well,
No.
yeah, I know you had this, but I'm just curious because is that a fundamental shift recently for you in the last couple of years?
Very much so.
So what was it like before?
Well, I was raised.
Not I'm available. I'm just going to do what I need to do.
No, I was raised in a church community. You know, so I've always had a cornerstone of faith. Very different though. I was raised Catholic, and so you know there are rules and regs within any church, especially a church like Catholicism. And you know, I think it gave me a good meter, a good arrow to kind of start a journey, a path. I think even more though than the church is I was raised with athletics as a big background. So I started in gymnastics when I was 4 and got to a pretty elite level by the time I was in my early teens, pre-Olympic stuff.
It's a ton of work.
It's a lot of work.
A lot of time.
It's a lot, and it's a lot of tenacity. And so I think that, you know, I would go to practice at the gym before school, and then I went to a traditional school, and then I'd go after school, and then we'd compete on weekends, and it was your life. I got hurt when I was 12 or 13 significantly and had to stop the sport. And I think that was probably the first place in my life where I really came to grips with the fact that I couldn't power through everything. I wasn't always in control. When you're raised with that type of tenacity, you think you can, you know, kind of outwork anything. And that's a good thing to have until you realize that it's not true. And I think faith changed a lot around that time.
Like seeing your weakness versus seeing strength.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Just understanding that I could do what I could do. And then outside of that, I couldn't really push through anything else. I think when you learn that you can't just push your way through life, your life starts getting easier somehow. It's like a...
Talk about that, because I agree with you. I'm just, what are you thinking when you say that?
I think that when you are pushed to be tenacious, whether you're a CEO or an athlete or in a beauty pageant, you know, any space where you feel like you are in complete control of the outcome, of the success of the company, of the bottom line, of the way the team interacts, you're not living fully truthful. You're putting your own abilities above the abilities of a higher power. And I think once you can understand that the two can coexist, I can work as hard as I can push as much as I know is healthy, and the rest is up to God, that alleviates the need to overperform a lot. And I think that's probably why this career shift for me has been humbling and very healthy, is because I think I was pushing so hard in my area just to make it the best I could make it. In the commercial real estate world, keep the facility 100% rented. You know, like that was always in the back of my mind. When I started my career there, I think it was 40% rented. And within a couple of years, I got it up to 100 and maintained it to the place where if somebody was leaving, I'd have their replacement the next day. Like that's the kind of work ethic I would bring. And then when I realized that I had probably outperformed that space and there was more out there for me to go and share and do, that alleviated a lot of burden from my life to keep performing in a space that didn't fulfill me anymore. Does that make sense too?
It does. And I think I want to come back to what you said about like the being in control. Hunter, this is one of the things we've talked about a lot. How much energy we put in things we can't control. Mm-hmm. And the other factor you brought in there, you talked about God and yourself, but the other people in your life. Like this is the whole thing, like the CEO or again, the mom, the whoever, wherever you're in, if you're in sort of control or responsible for a group of people, we forget that other limiting factor, which is people in our lives. And so then we try to control or we fret about things that we can't control. Manipulation comes in. And again, we're not just available and present to use our gifts and abilities. What you're talking about here, we become who we think we need to be because we need to control the circumstance. And it just doesn't work. You've talked about this a lot, right? We've chatted about this.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, and I'd be interested in your thoughts on this, Kristin, because I think we bring so much baggage to I'm available because we have kind of a definition of what ought to happen when you're doing what you're supposed to, or there's a cultural kind of definition of what that's supposed to mean. And if you don't fit that, I mean, I'll just tell you a story from yesterday, because I was wondering just how important this is, what I did yesterday. So this old friend of mine, who I've known for a long time, he has fallen to dementia. And in fact, I worked with his family to get him in a facility, and I was the one that took him over there, for the first time, and he didn't know where he was, And so yesterday I just went over and I was going to go out and pick up something from somebody down in Davidson County. And so I just go pick him up, sign him out. He didn't know where he is. He didn't know. I mean, he seems to recognize me, but, and I just get him in the truck and we go pick this thing up, And it seems so insignificant. And it seems like, who cares? What does it matter? Is that, being available? And so I guess that's another side of what you're talking about, where you look at it and you go, well, that doesn't sound very important.
It's the most important. See, that's the whole thing. And I love that I'm talking to the two of you about this, because you guys each bring such a unique perspective on things. Josh, with your work with teams, and Hunter, with your past in just leading people, shepherding, really. Mm-hmm. When you are available to the prompts, now I want you to go back to your day yesterday, and let me ask you a few questions.
Yeah, fire away.
So when you realized that you needed to go to Davidson County to pick this thing up, did you have a lot of space in your day to do it? Or was it like, I need to do it in this little place and hurry up and come on back?
I had some space.
Were you looking forward to the drive and just to kind of getting out and looking around? A little bit of privacy, some thoughts?
Well, no, I I really wanted to do something with him.
Where did that start?
It started a long time ago. I just thought about this. I thought about who cares? Who cares? I mean, you walk in this place and it looks like zombies. And he's just one of them. And and you just think, who cares about this guy? I mean, his family does, but anybody else, that's not paid. And so I for me, it's like, if I don't care about this old friend, I don't know. It was just it's kind of a thing. what am I if I don't care about this old friend?
Guess what? You're not the only old friend he's got. But you were called to act on how you were being pulled in your heart. And you gave your availability to pour into this man's life. Now, we don't know everything about dementia here on this earth. He could remember every single thing about yesterday. You could have made his entire month by picking him up and getting him in the car and driving him down the road yesterday. He'll never be able to tell you that. But I bet you what you did yesterday has huge purpose.
Well, I believe that too. And I believe it has purpose that's larger than even his enjoyment. But it's almost dignifying, or, just doing something that has,
No end game.
You don't have an end game.
No.
You don't really. And it's almost for the angels, more than anything. And because I don't know, I mean, I even hesitate talking about it because you go, oh yeah, I this is the kind of stuff I do all the time. Well, it's not, it's not. But it's such a strange thing because it doesn't seem to have any value. And so I've just been thinking about being available.
I just have to tell you though, because his family, I assume, either know or will know that you've done this.
I don't know.
Well, they will. And because you've signed him out of something. So they are going to see that he got signed out of something. If not, we got to check on this place. But I'm going to tell you, Josh, has the story affected you?
Oh, 100%.
The story has greatly impacted me. I will tell you this. I'm going to walk out of this interview, this conversation, changed because of what you were available to yesterday. Availability doesn't look like success all the time. Availability may not look like anything right away, but somebody listening to this is going to do better for somebody they care about. I can promise you that.
Well, and I think it is dangerous to try to even understand. I mean, I like your hesitancy too, Hunter. You're saying like, I don't know, does it matter? But even I think it's this idea of being present. We are so calculated. Like we have to have a cost effect ratio. Business. I mean, we're entrepreneurs. Kristin, is this going to be worth your time? Is this going to grow your business? Like we think that way. It's always
I'm married to Jared.
What?
Hello. Yeah.
Yeah. You got a finance guy who's like, was this worth your time right now? I'm going to got a spreadsheet for you.
You
He's one of those people who
some money.
I still make fun of him because he smiles and says he loves spreadsheets, and I think he has mental illness.
Oh, he does.
That
But
case. But
that's
this is
another
his
episode.
own problem. Yes, we'll bring him on and talk about that. Can you please not talk about spreadsheets?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think this idea of just being present and you're going to be available, regardless of if you see the outcome, that it has an effect upon you. Like you said, it's just bigger. And it's bigger, and it doesn't have to. We don't have to go like, yeah, that was well spent day. We don't know if it was a well spent day, but we're being.
I guess that's what I've been thinking about because I love the concept of what do you have for me? Whatever you have for me, I'm here. What do you want? And usually the expectations that are put on that are for some kind of success, and some kind of goal or, that sort of thing. And that's fine too. Like I got to grow my business or I've got to whatever. And, but sometimes it's also just these very small, seemingly unimportant things.
I think that those are the things that add up the most. I think that's what obedience looks like. I think that's what discipline looks like. Is, you think about, I heard a quote, and it was the curse of discipline. And it said, the curse of discipline is that every day can look the same. Also, the curse of indiscipline is that every year does. And when you think about it like that, you think about the little acts of obedience that stack up to lead to something, if you think about a workout, I'm not going to remember the lifting session I had 7 days ago, but in 2 months, I'm going to know that I've been lifting weights because I'm stronger. I think that's what that availability that you demonstrated yesterday does. I think when you feel called and prompted to do something that's outside of your comfort level, outside of your norm, outside of your routine, outside of what an end goal would look like, and you do it anyway, and you tune into that frequency a little bit more and just start doing things without all those metrics in mind, I think not only your life, but I think the lives of people around you that are watching you or listening to the stories, they change. Now, this gets a little bit bigger too. So when I think about, why am I doing this? What does this matter? I can't help but to think that available people change communities, and changed communities change the world. And so when I think about a group of employees that you're working on, and there are the dynamics, the human dynamics that are going to always be there. When you think about leading a congregation, there is drama, and there are human dynamics that are always going to be there. When you're a living person on this earth, there's going to be drama, and there are going to be dynamics that are part of our experience. For me, for you, for all of us. We're not exempt. None of us are exempt from this. But when you talk about living available, and what does that mean? That means, what are you prompted to do? How are you prompted to shift your life? I believe that when we operate in this space of what we're called to do, our purpose starts to show up a little bit different. Do I think we could can I identify what your purpose is, Josh? No, I cannot. You might not either. But when you're living a life pointed towards your purpose, your life is fun. You enjoy what you're doing for a career. You enjoy the people that you're stewarding. You live a life of zeal when you're operating within your purpose. Every single person that starts to do that starts to change the community. And every changed community goes out there and makes it a better world. That is why I care so much about this mission. It doesn't require collaboration. It requires a look at yourself. It's very introspective to say, am I really living out my mission? How do I know if I am or not? I'm either enjoying my life or something's missing. Okay.
Well, and it's counterintuitive too. I think there is some introspection, like you're asking that question, but it's not self-focused. Like, you're not waking up, what do I want to do today?
Nope.
Like Phineas and Ferb. I know what we're going to do today. Sorry, I really love Phineas and Ferb. But at the end of the day, you're reflecting back, like, did I do what you want me to do, God? Is what you said, okay, I'm available to do, which means serving or being with a friend or whatever. It's such a counterintuitive thing, because happiness has been defined. I was just reading a book and it was driving me bananas because it was all about this. Just the way you measure is, does it feel good or does it feel right to you? And it's like, there's happiness or joy or something deep or meaning involved, but you don't start the day going, what do I want? You start the day with, I'm available to what is in front of me. That's the idea of presence. You get I know this is a problem I have. You can confirm this with my family. I might be physically present, but I am somewhere else, and usually in the future. I'm usually worried about the future, thinking about the future, planning for the future, and we're told that that's good, which it is to plan. But if we miss the availability of being in the present, we're only thinking about ourselves. We're not being available to a person, whether they're taking them somewhere or just taking the phone call, screening the phone call, going, Kristin, call me again. I don't really have time for this. Mm-hmm. Or can I be available for a moment and leave space for that? That's a selfless way to start the day.
And there's a lot of discipline in that, because this isn't a space where because I think people could hear this and they're like, I can't do it all. Absolutely, you can't do it all. We also all answer to the same 24 hours in a day. We all have the same amount of time. It's how we use it. It's how we are stewards of that time. And so that's where there are strategic yeses, strategic nos, because if you have a strategic no, then it makes those yeses more available. Those are the ones that mean a little bit more. If you're like, yes, I can take my friend. Yes, I can take his friend. Yes, I can take their friend. Well, there's no time left for you and your family or your job or whatever. You have to be very strategic on what you're available to. And sometimes availability means saying no.
Well, they're related, the yes and the no. You're familiar with the book Essentialism, one of my favorite books?
No.
Oh my goodness, Kristin, I've read it 3 times. I'm still trying to do it.
Okay.
I'm trying to practice it. But one of the big themes is with every yes, there is a no attached. Because when you say yes to your friend, you're saying no to something else.
Right.
And so understanding that you have a limitation on that makes you much more, I guess, pointed and directed in what you're going to be available to do. Like you're saying, you cannot just strategize the life. You have to realize every yes you have. So I'm much more stingy with my yeses now, knowing that a no is attached to it somewhere. Mm-hmm. So you be really thoughtful about your yeses. Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm going to take it, and I'm not going to be bothered by that. Like, I'm going to spend the time with taking this friend. And I know that that's going to cost something else. And that's the discipline part, because discipline requires sacrifice. Mm-hmm. And so I think you're exactly right. It's like, be very specific with you, because you're not saying be all things, all people, just say yes and I'm available. Because no, that's not what you're saying. You're saying
available to God is where your work begins.
Yeah, it's a start.
And it is not easy work. That's the other thing. I'd love to be the rainbows and sunshine girl, and I think some people think I am. But that is where the real work starts, is when you say, I'm available. It's not to what I want to do. It can be. But it's, God, I'm available. What do you want from me? How are you going to use me? And that's where you have to be very careful with your behavior.
Well, it may not be what you want, but it's what you need. I was just talking to a friend who he was wrestling with anxiety, and he was just asking, we were sitting, it was a group of us, and we were just talking, and he said, what do you guys do when you're anxious? My wife says I need this drug. That's what she said. What about you? Is there anything else before I start taking drugs? This is what he said. He was asking us this. And one of the things that I shared, and I don't know who shared this with me, but I think it's right. Like, when I start to get anxious, one of the best things to do is to serve someone else. Like, just turn away the spotlight from what I want. And it's interesting. That's actually what I need. What the result of that serving another person is what
Absolutely.
I need to do that. So that's, again, what I think the availability side is.
Yeah, actually, there's another strategy if you want to share it with him. There's something called a gratitude walk. And if he can get outside and express gratitude for anything, the air, his lungs, his feet, his clothes, anything, you cannot be grateful and anxious at the same time, and gratitude wins almost every time.
Yeah.
It's a reset.
That's right.
So tell me, or give us a picture of how you confirmed that this was powerful in your life and that it was working, and
TBD.
Well, I mean, you wouldn't be writing a book on it if you weren't convinced that it was, effective in some way.
No, it is. And so let's fast forward for a second. The book is written, it's edited, it's with a publisher. September 15th is when we soft launch. October 15th, which is my birthday.
Happy
so
birthday.
Cool, so unexpected. Because I am married to a CPA, and October 15th is a horrible tax deadline. So my birthday has been botched for a lot of years. Talk about a God
think
wink.
about that. Oh my goodness,
Oh my
that's
gosh,
crazy.
it's crazy. So we launched this book on October 15th. And so, yes, I knew that it was something worth pursuing. But I will tell you this. For many months, I was getting up at night and writing, because I had the kid duties and my job that I had to do during the day. So at night, I would get up and write through a lot of the night. Very underslept period of my life. Very. And so the day that I finished writing the book.
But that is an illustration of, I'm available. What do you want me to do? I want you to get up in the middle of the night and write.
Yeah, because remember what I told you. For a long time, I said, no, thank you. Mm-hmm. And I would go back to sleep.
Snooze.
And then when I couldn't go back to sleep, that's when, out of desperation, I got up and started writing. Mm. I think that was probably the first time in my life where I was like, okay, this isn't my tenacity. This isn't me. This is, I'm being utilized to get a message out. And I don't know how that all works. I mean, I really don't, but I'm just taking steps as we go. But I finished the book, and out of just to completely humor myself, you have to understand my personality. The book doesn't end like this, but I wrote "The End" in capitals, and I slammed the laptop down, and it was 11 o'clock in the morning. I was still in my pajamas. I had gotten up and like made the kids breakfast and got them off to school, and I sat back down. I was so close to the end, and I wrote "The End," and I slammed the laptop down, and my Apple Watch goes off, and it goes, "Seminar in 5 minutes." And I was like, seminar, because remember, I've been speaking. So I thought I was leading a seminar in 5 minutes somewhere publicly. And I was sitting in my pajamas with glasses on and slippers, hair unbrushed, looking like a mad scientist, you know? And I open up my laptop again and I look at the calendar and it says, "How to publish your book seminar starting in 5 minutes." And I was like, what seminar did I sign up? I don't remember. I still to this day, I'm sure I did, but I don't remember signing up for this seminar. So I was relieved, and I put on my AirPods and I started cleaning the kitchen, and I'll be on this seminar for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. An hour later, I'm the last caller on the seminar, and I'm with this company. Are you guys familiar with John Gordon, The Energy Bus?
No, I don't think I am.
No? He wrote The Energy Bus, Power of a Positive Team, Power of Positive Leaderships. I think he's written 18 bestsellers. And I think of public speakers, he's probably number 1, 2, or 3 worldwide. I mean, this guy's very accomplished. And the How to Publish Your Book seminar was through his company. Next thing I know, I'm the last person on the call. This woman says, do you have any more questions? I'm like, I'm just writing all this down. This is so exciting. And she said, you want to stay on the call with me and just, I'm going to ask you a few questions. Turns out this woman was in Charlotte, North Carolina. She said, I think I need to elevate this call. Can you get on a call with John Gordon's wife, Catherine Gordon? And I was like, yes, I can. I'm on a call with Catherine Gordon. I meet John Gordon. The next thing I know, the book is being published. One step before that, I have a very trusted friend advisor, and I handed her my manuscript, and I said, I have a call with Catherine Gordon tomorrow, John Gordon's wife, and I'm going to tell her that I have something worth publishing, but I don't know if I do. I mean, I felt like, I had discovered cold fusion, and they're going to be like, it's actually just water, Kristen, joke's on you.
Very underwhelming. Thank you very much. Don't call us. We'll call you.
Yeah. It looks like you wrote "The End." But anyway, I gave it to her, and she called me the following day, and she was like, I couldn't put it down. This is really good. That was the first time I knew that me talking to this very accomplished company wasn't me being insane. And then with that, I had a lot more confidence to just keep stepping. And since then, these doors have opened up. I mean, overwhelming doors have opened up. And so I know that what I am hopefully communicating to people is very viable and very real and very needed.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Well, people need encouragement. I mean, just the need to speak in and say, being present, waking up, available, it has dignity and purpose. Just to that is a huge message for people, because it's just so much. I mean, it's just constant. And we went back, we're talking about social media, right? Like that, if anything can discourage you, is like going there.
Yeah.
And you just, the doom scrolling of everyone's success. In fact, I realized, like, especially with AI now, you don't even know it's real. I got really mad because I'm a White Sox fan, and they played the Cubs, and I found that some reason on my feed I get this. It was this Cubs player, and he was just saying terrible things about the White Sox, and he was just like, this guy's a jerk. And so I sent it to my brother, who's a Cubs fan. I'm like, this guy's such a jerk, and he starts laughing. I'm like, why are you laughing? This guy's a jerk. And he's like, oh, that's AI. The whole thing was made up. Like, this guy looked, and it was so believable.
So scary.
And it's like, so all that to say is, like, there's such a discouragement in the world because where you kind of go where you think you need to go or follow along, and all of a sudden you're like, I can't do anything because look at all the success going on, look at all the opportunity going on, and it feels very insignificant.
It does.
And we know it. We live in a statistical higher time of people in depression and suicide and all that. Our kids are feeling that way. Again, it's not all social media, but it's definitely a huge part of comparison.
It's comparison.
Right? But to wake up in the morning not saying anything between you and the Lord and just say, I'm available, what do you want? Is such a powerful place to be.
And it embetters you as a person. So one of the examples that I love to think about is a woman who works for the food pantry. Her job, her passion, her purpose, she feels, is feeding community. So she solicits donations, money, food, brings volunteers in, facilitates the whole thing. And she feels fulfilled by doing that portion of the mission. But then when the truck arrives with the food that needs to be packaged into boxes or bags and then distributed out to the community, when the truck pulls up, she's not physically strong enough to lift the food or to package the food or to get the food to the people that are going to distribute it out because she's not taking care of her temple. Is she fully available for that purpose? That's what I'm asking people to think about. If you're not taking care of your body, then there are probably parts of your passion that you're not fulfilling because you're not capable, you're not able, you're not ready. And I think when you posture yourself for being ready for those things, you are given more opportunity that you didn't see coming. I think about a friendship. Josh, if I'm sitting in a room with you and we're going to have a conversation, I need to be watching your body language. I need to understand where you are for our friendship, for our conversation. If you're not feeling jokey, I'm not going to sit there and throw jokes at you or try to make you laugh. If you're having a hard time, I want to understand that you're having a hard time so I can talk to you about what you're going through. That's a two-way communication. Based on your availability, I'm going to either hand you something or take something or both. But I need to be sure that you're ready to receive what I've got to give you. God's no different. If I'm not showing my availability for what he has to give, if my physical temple's not ready, my spirit, my alignment, my environment, all of these things, if you're not working on those, God's going to say, not yet, not yet. And when you are ready, he'll say, now, and your life changes.
And I think sometimes he will use the fact that you're not ready to make you ready. Like he will stretch you in ways and put you in places like you're being stretched right now. This is not a place of comfort necessarily, right?
Not at all.
They call it an entrepreneurial leap for a reason.
Yeah.
It's not a stroll. It's not a simple step. It's a leap, and it's costly. And so sometimes the calling is you're going to be refined through the process of obedience. Mm-hmm. I believe that too. Mm-hmm. And you're going to learn and grow from it. But you are not always ready. I think sometimes you're just called. I don't know. Would you agree?
Well, it's yeah, I would agree with that.
Would you agree with that, Kristin?
Because
that there's that point of it too. Because I think you're saying the one side is we definitely the more available and ready, and again, like in the frame of mind to be prepared to go. That's one thing. But there's also this time like, well, sometimes God needs to prepare me.
Okay. Let me go back for a second. I want to hear what you think, Hunter, but let me go back for a second. I stepped out of a 16-year career that I knew how to do with my eyes closed. But I'm going to tell you what, those 2 years leading up to me actually making this change were not great.
Yes.
Nothing was wrong, but I wasn't feeling settled. And I think that was God stretching me to say, listen, you've got to change your environment. And it wasn't because I was like, oh, my environment's not good. No, it wasn't that at all. There was something internal that I can't put my finger on that was just like, you got to go.
Yeah.
You got to go. There's something else. Yes.
Yeah. And you don't settle and listen for it. I mean, I've always told people I know when I'm ready to go move somewhere before I know where I'm going to.
Yes.
I don't know why, but I think that's part of it. And that's what I'm saying. It's not prepare and then go. I think there's a portion of that which makes the going even more exciting and encouraging, because then I'm like, wow, what's next? Okay, I'm gonna work out before I go on this walk. Backpacking trip, you don't want to just do, you want to get ready. But then there's this side too where sometimes the mercy of God is just gonna wake you. I'm just gonna wake you up. I'm just gonna wake you up, and a lot of times it's through suffering. Hunter, what were you gonna say? Sorry, we tangent over there.
That's okay. That's okay. I guess I appreciate the assumption that people can find, and I'll use several words that the culture kind of understands. You'll find alignment in your life, or purpose, or even identity in your life by connecting with something that's outside of you. Because our culture these days, they live in basically a naturalistic kind of understanding that what you see is all there is. And you're inviting people to, your assumption is, oh, well, of course you'd have gratitude for what you've been given. Of course there's someone that is thinking about you and loves you and that you would want to connect with every morning, right? And that's a beautiful assumption. It's not the assumption that most people think about. So it's an introduction of a very disruptive idea.
It is such a tricky time in history to walk onto a public platform, whether that's a stage, because I'm on a stage quite a bit, or in a room of people who are part of a company or part of an organization, or to have a book come out, or to be on social media. It is a very tricky time to be publicly viewed and talk about God. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you, it was not a choice that I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get on a public platform and I'm going to talk about God. No. Mm-hmm. No. So if I didn't believe in this 100%, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. But it takes this bravery and this surrender, that what you just said, believing that there is something more than what we see, and we all have the capacity to tap into that so we can make the most of this life. I'm going to shout it from the rooftop.
Yeah,
and the mountaintop and the mountain bottom.
I think the thing is, it's
Those
like
are called valleys.
There you go, the mountain bottom,
peaks and valleys.
The mountain bottom. That's a cave.
I'll shout it from a cave.
But I do think that there is a piece of this though that transcends. I mean, this is you were talking about humanity. The human condition is that we know there's more. We do. We push against it. We want to call it. We hesitate to call it something because then maybe we might be responsible or something like that. That's what we do, right? But think about it. Why do we love Marvel? Why do we love big stories and explosions when the bad guys go down and people are rescued? I mean, we know it's bigger, and we have so much more joy when we're connected with something. When we, go on a trip to help people or whatever, we know this stuff. And so you're just identifying your journey in that and inviting people to wonder.
And I think that's a great step. To have their journey in it too. Again, because it goes down to an individual. I mean, are we going to get everyone out there on the street to think the same thing, or to believe in the same thing, or to want the same thing, to champion the same thing? No. Like, we're not. We've learned that. We're very polarized in a lot of spaces. This isn't about that. This isn't about this huge alignment, to use your buzzword. I mean, this is not about community alignment. This is about individuals being the good.
Yeah.
And when you're individually being the good, because you're posturing yourself for availability of something more, like you're saying, something better, then we do better. And when we do better, we slowly change the landscape out of this hate landscape that we've been in.
There's a quote I use in the facilitation work I do that people don't lead, purposes do. And I think it's like Harry Beckwith, I think is his name, that said that. But people don't lead, purposes do. You're connected to something bigger. That's the idea of a purpose. Something, again, you would say, this is God, inviting me to come, and I'm going to be available. But purpose is we're not following people. In fact, this is why we know when we start following just what we want, it never ends well anyway, because we're not very great to lead. And Hunter's, as much as I love him, and he's helped me in my life, just following him and where he wants to go is not it. It's purpose. It's something bigger. And so connecting people, that's why I love working with entrepreneurs, because they usually are around some sort of purpose. And like you said, when the entrepreneurs win, the good ones, the world's a better place. when people, because you don't want all worldviews and things to, at least I don't, because there's some things that are just evil that we want not to continue on. We don't want that purpose of evil.
No.
But a bigger purpose that's going to show, that bring dignity to humanity, and love and compassion and justice and all these things that we write these stories for. That's what we're trying to invite people to. And I think that's why it resonated with the publisher. Like, oh, okay,
this is a little different.
This is bigger.
Well, I want the non-believers to read this. I want the people that are feeling a little dark inside to read this. I want people that are feeling like violence, oppression, anything negative. I want them, disbelief in good. I want them to read this, because this isn't a big challenge where it's like, get on our team. It's not. It's like, what about you? Like, you're having these feelings towards darkness and evil. Why? Is that coming from being available to your purpose, or is that coming because you've been hurt? Is that coming from somewhere else? It's an introspective look at you and you alone, and it's a very private journey. It's very, very, very private. But I want people that aren't woo to get their hands on this message. I think it will honestly at least make people think a little differently, if not live very differently.
Yeah, you're not looking for the echo chamber of someone who believes exactly what you believe. You're just trying to offer a perspective.
Not at all.
So, Kristin, tell us a little bit about. I'm curious to just shift gears a bit, because I'm still curious about this journey that you're on. So you MC, you speak, now writing. What's your favorite thing to do of those?
I think I'm still figuring that out. I love MC work. I think it's fun because it's light for me. When somebody brings me into their organization to represent what their goal is, I think that's a lot of fun. It lights me up. Being able, like I emceed an event recently for the Ronald McDonald House, and just knowing that the families that they're supporting, I mean, we were one of them. Did you know that?
I don't think I knew that.
Jared and I had, our daughter was born at 27 weeks. She was so early. And where we live in this great city with access to healthcare that's really close by, we were at the hospital for several months straight and had a baby at home too. They're 16 months apart. So that Ronald McDonald room alone sustained my family, truly. And when they hired me, they had no idea that I had experience in it. So it was a passion project for me. It's that, again, it's walking through these doors that like, yeah, I'm available to MC. Oh, hold on.
This is part of my story.
This is part of me. Yeah. And so we actually, at the beginning of the event, I showed a picture of my daughter and I. She was 3 pounds. I mean, she was tiny. And I said, before I even said yes to this mission, I have been a beneficiary of what your contribution tonight will do. And that just gets to bring in a whole new level. I love keynoting. I've spoken to a lot of organizations, especially recently. I've been on a pretty heavy speaking circuit. But I think one of the things that I'm loving right now is coaching. And there's something in it. I don't know. When will this podcast episode air?
Later on today.
Oh, today. Well, I'm working with a high profile person who is competing in something big that's coming up. That's all I can say for now. And I took this leader, a local leader that represents our state, and I am helping them prepare for a not worldwide, but a nationwide competition.
Wow.
And teaching them the art of body language, of eye contact, of how to speak publicly, of how to prepare for this time on a stage where they will be judged. And I love that so much, whether it's helping a father of the bride get ready to give his toast, or a CEO getting ready to give the year-end review, or a competitive area. I love helping people feel that the way that they present, the way that they speak, the way that they connect with their audience makes them powerful. So I have a 5-week course that I teach, and it actually parallels the beginning life of David in the Bible. It starts from it. The program that I give is called From Shepherd to King. So we stop at him becoming king. We're not going to go all the way into David's life for this one. But when David was in the hills shepherding sheep all the way to where he received the crown, this helps people to understand that there's something in them. They know it. God knows it. And then the 5-week program helps them evolve to this place where they have this confidence that's just different, this presence that's different, this connection that's different. And I love that because it empowers others to be able to communicate with ease.
So it's mostly it's geared towards communication, like
Absolutely.
helping people communicate. So your coaching, the coaching is one-on-one coaching predominantly.
I meet with my clients one time a week, and like I said, it's a 5-week program, and it just helps people with confidence and communication. Love it.
Love it. I didn't realize. So that's a pretty new thing too. These last few.
All of this is new. I stepped out from my career in March. And it's only August. 6 months, Josh.
6 months. Why did I think this was so much longer? This is how time goes with me.
Well, and it's
I used the
also,
word. I used the phrase just the other day, like 10 years at a time. So.
Oh, geez. Well, let's not do that.
Yeah. But this was literally just the other day, months ago.
It really was.
But it's been a wild ride. It's been a wild ride.
It has. And then let's just go ahead and establish that baseline again. I'm not at the top of any mountain going, this is how I did it. This is me journeying and saying, please come, please. I can help you. I want to help you. I'm available to help you. Let's go. And it's unfolding.
So what's been the biggest surprise of this journey, the entrepreneurial leap here for you?
That I have a book coming out. I mean, my mother, when I told her that I was writing a book, she was like, have you ever read a book?
Thanks, Mom. I need some counseling for that statement.
But it's so true. And it's not that she's, undermining any intelligence. It's just that that's not me. I don't sit down and read. I'm not a big intellect. And just the fact that I have this message that was in there that needed to come out in the form of a published, beautiful looking book, that's been a huge surprise. And it's been so fun. It's been so fun, so exciting.
Who knew where your availability would lead?
Who knew? Who knew? Hunter, what are you thinking over there? You're so quiet. Is he always this quiet?
No.
What's going on?
But he is much more thoughtful than I am, so he thinks before he speaks. I usually speak and then think afterwards. That's the reverse. That's what makes us a good pair.
I'm just listening and enjoying learning about your life and appreciating, other people's journeys. It's awesome.
Are you connecting with this at all?
Yeah, I do. I think about this all the time.
Really?
All the time.
I actually thought you were going to say no.
No, I think about identity and purpose every day. And if you have it and you understand it, then you are, it's almost like there's shalom in your life, or just this peace that's, it's not just you don't care about anything, but it's just, you just have this sense of it's okay. And I can just wait and I can walk. And so identity and purpose is like very, very important. And that's what you are that's what you're inviting people to discover and think about and watch for, and just walking in that kind of a way. And so, yeah, I'm all over it.
I think that what you just said is why I love the training platform and the specific 5-week program the way that I do, is because when we identify what the hope is for a goal, again, a successful toast at my daughter's wedding or to win this title, when you understand that you are taking the steps and doing as much work as you're able to do on your own and walking in that with confidence, then what you just said is what gives you the peace of understanding where it's like, I'm going to give my all. I'm going to give my best. I'm going to prepare. Outside of that, I'm going to enjoy this, and the outcome will be the outcome.
Well, yeah, when you have a sense, I mean, you talk about this, Hunter. I knew he was thinking deeply because you are definitely swimming in the lane of where he often talks about. But you move through the. I think you say like we move through the world with
freedom
and power when you're connected with purpose.
Yeah.
When you know who you are. So much of it is out of identity. Because if we don't know who we are, we're scared and, what will he think of me? Mm-hmm. And it's not you don't arrive, but it's a constant wake up every morning. Am I available? Lord, what are you going to do? And when you know who you are, when you know whose you are, freedom and power is the result of that. And it's a curious person. You're drawn to like, why are they not freaked out like
when
that?
I coach people, I have not thought of freedom and power. I love that. But what I call it is flow. Mm-hmm. It's a flow. All of a sudden, you think about being a conduit of something. And I mean, science can challenge any of this. I could say water and you could be like, water can be choppy. Well, currents can be interrupted. Yeah. Okay. Got all that. So any opposition, just squashing it. When you are a conduit and things are flowing through you, confidence is a flow. Mm-hmm. It is absolutely a flow. And another thing that it's electric, it's magnetic. It lights other people up and it draws people towards you. If you can do that, then you can win at any messaging that you're giving.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just helpful to think that, the people who are that I'm most drawn to are those people who have this confidence. And it's not a showy confidence either, right? It's not, you don't have to be a public speaker. I love that it can be as simple as I just want to honor my son or daughter at the wedding mm-hmm. and speak well and honor them. And that's something. And you're drawn to this person who's confidently moving through the world and not always second guessing everything. It's got to be drawn from somewhere else.
I recently spoke to an organization, and after the short presentation, this man came up to me and he said, and you would understand the terminology more than me. With my Catholic roots, I don't really know what this is, but he said, I'm a senior pastor at a church. And he said, I have a team under me who preach every Sunday. And he said, would you work with a team of preachers to give them confidence in the gospel and in their homily, their delivery, mm-hmm. in their communication? So basically what he was looking for was somebody that would help connect the message of God with the congregation through this conduit. And absolutely, I said, yes, I will do that. That is one of the biggest honors of my life, to be able to say, yes, I will take these really anointed people for their where their heart is and help them communicate better to people that aren't as aligned as they are with the message of Christ. Yeah. So it's that. I mean, it's really evergreen stuff.
Mm-hmm. Evergreen.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Evergreen.
What does that mean?
It stays green forever. This isn't a faddish message.
Lasts.
It lasts.
That lasts.
Okay.
Evergreen.
Yeah. It doesn't go dark in the winter.
No.
Yeah.
No, it stays green forever. And I don't think it's chasing a trend. I think it's actually just naturally how we're called to live. And I'm very proud to be part of it.
Yeah. You're pointing people back to something that's foundational, not a new
very simple
kitschy thing that you should, put on X or I almost said tweet, but that was the old days. See, that's how old I am. I used to tweet, and I never tweeted anyway.
Me either.
So,
Did you?
No, I just don't. I
just don't.
we just lowered the age, or we just raised the age of people that will listen to this because these people don't know what they're talking about.
I know it. I know about all of it, but I've made a lot of choices because I'm so susceptible.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm easily controlled by those things that are made to control, and so I just say no and hell no.
Good for you.
And get out of my head and get out of my heart, and I guess one of the ways that I think just another descriptor of what you're describing is that the right way to say that?
Descriptor of what you're describing?
I don't know.
Belts and suspenders.
But I've just thought about it being, one of the ways I understand the big story of God is that there's this thing called chaos that comes. And no one can really live in chaos. And so the big story of God is all about moving into chaos and bringing order. And not just order, because that can also be dangerous.
Sure can.
You can have too much order.
Like spreadsheets.
But it's more this idea of a peace, a shalom that transcends it, and you know what it looks like, and you know what it feels like, and so your description of coaching is helping people to speak into the chaos of people's lives. I mean, that's a little bit about what I'm hearing you called to do
within the chaos of their life,
right?
And that's the thing, we're all coming from different places. We all have different thresholds of what chaos is. I mean, if we're living and breathing and driving out there in the world, there's chaos.
Sure.
Period. But when we talk about pointing ourselves towards a specific goal, whether that is to, in general, become a better speaker or a better presenter or get through the toast at the wedding, when we identify the goal, then you start to get this shalom that starts to transcend through you and go outward. Your message becomes clearer. You're not as easily shaken. You're not worried about how you're being perceived because you're walking towards something that is truthful to you, that really matters to you, that you want to be a good steward of. And that training, we talk about having the posture of a lion. Think about a lion. A lion isn't frantic until he needs to act, and he moves with purpose. And then he goes back to peace. Lions aren't flappable. And that's what I work with my clients on too, and myself. You can't be flappable.
I'm laughing to myself because I think, that's why I don't like cats, because cats, they're just a laser pointer and they are all over the place. I wonder, have we ever tried that with a lion? Like, is a lion distractible because it's a bigger cat?
I'd say not.
But I love that image, though. You're right, because you go to the zoo and this lion's sitting there and it's like, oh, we could pet him. But boy, when it's time, like you said, purposeful movement. And so much of us, it's just we're so afraid because either the chaos is around us or the chaos we've created.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then bringing freedom and purpose, and just by helping people speak and by speaking into their lives. And Kristin, this is great. I'm so thrilled. And thank you for just spending time sharing a little bit of the journey, especially being on the front end of the journey. And so we're going to keep following that journey.
On Instagram?
Sorry.
Hunter's like, I'll tell Hunter about it.
Actually, really, at Kristin Johnson Speaks, if you have a few seconds to look at something and you want to share it with Hunter, do it. It's not what you're expecting. It's against the grain. Don't go get on social media. But if he shows you something, I think it might be refreshing.
I know how to go to a website.
You do?
Yeah.
He's not like sitting without a computer at home. Do you have your abacus that you're using?
Hunter Luddite Dockery.
Oh my gosh. Technology and we have a very rocky relationship. I'll tell you that much.
Okay.
Well, you've embraced it and you're moving towards it. So that's great. Because I do see you popping up on things all the time. And I love it.
thank
I
you.
love it. Because it's you too. And knowing you, a little bit more than I think than the average person. When I see you on there, I'm like, oh, this is the same person. It's
Oh,
not
good.
like,
I'm glad
I
you
feel
think
that way.
that.
I do. And you can only, I mean, it's still a camera and whatever, but yes, your silliness is your silliness. Your jokes are your jokes, and it's like it is so refreshing. This interview, this is you. This isn't like the version for this podcast. So just thank you for being you, and thank you for being obedient. I mean, I'm excited to read the book and to hear more about it and pay attention to what this journey is going to look like. And if anything, some people can get some encouraged to maybe wake up and say, what do you want from me today, God?
Mm-hmm. And what are we going to do? It's not just what are you going to do, God? It's what are we going to do?
What have you invited me into? Because that's the invitation we have, is to join in bringing order and shalom to chaos. And it is not like you said, it's not a straight line. It's a messy thing, but it is a beautiful thing when it happens, and some good happens, and maybe the world's a little different. So
yeah, and it's hard work. So I would say, like, as we're kind of rounding out, if anybody's feeling prompted to give this a try, it's so easy. In the morning, before your feet hit the floor, just try it. I mean, what have you got to lose? Nothing. Maybe you try it and you're like, meh, not for me. Okay, that's fine. But give it a try just before your feet hit the ground. Close your eyes just for a minute and say, good morning, God. I'm available. And once you start hearing what you need to be doing, it could be, okay, now you need to go for a walk. It could be, now you need to pick up your friend and drive to Davie County. It could be, now you need to think about what's disrupting this team and give a different piece of advice. But the prompts, once you say I'm available to them, they become very clear.
Love it. Well, I love the excitement. It's super clear to me that you're doing what you ought to be doing at this point, and it's so fun. So thanks for spending the time with us. We really enjoy it.
Thank you both.
All right.